Yo, what's poppin'? All my peeps, is I, your host with the most Renaissance man who always thinks he can, and champion of the Patriot Peeps, Patty Pitts, back in the yard of streams for another edition of Pitts and Sara's Wrestling Show, where we take no nights off. And you can't have Pitts and Sara's Wrestling Show without the best of the West. You can't forget about Sara Marshall. What's poppin', girl?
Hey, yo.
Also, happy heavenly birthday to Scott Hall, because it is his birthday today.
Oh, happy birthday, Scott Hall.
Yeah, happy
The
birthday.
bad guy. The bad guy.
He's an October baby too.
Ooh.
He's just not a Scorpio. He's a Virgo. So.
Okay. I don't know any of that stuff. I just know I'm a Cancer and, I'm
a double Scorpio and a Virgo. So I'm pretty intense, apparently.
I would say that. Yeah, you're intense.
I could do your birth chart.
Maybe make that into a segment one time. Is we do my birth chart and just see why I am the way I am.
As long as you know where you were born and at what time. You don't have to say what it is, but I'm just saying that's the information.
Quincy, Mass, and 2:41
a.m. or p.m.
p.m.
That's so weird. I was born in Weymouth at 2:04 a.m.
Oh.
So that's why I was like a.m. or p.m. because we weren't that far from each other.
No, that was Quincy Hospital, baby. It's not even there anymore. They knocked it down and are making apartments.
I know. I don't know what hospital I was at. I would have to ask my mom, but yeah. Anyway.
Interesting. Yeah, enough about where we were born. It's time to talk wrestling. We are back. Yesterday, I'm not gonna lie, crazy day. I was on 2 Patriot shows. Obviously the GG Gillette Gazette, and then got asked me on a Bills show as well.
Yo.
And work and stuff. But we need to jump back in here in the yard of streams to talk about the current state of wrestling, because Sara, every week there's more news. And I actually ended the second Patriot show, the one I did for the Bills channel on YouTube. It was called Under Review. He asked me, he was, we're shooting the shit offline, and he was like, Pitts, I'm not really a wrestling fan, but I know what's going on in wrestling because of your tweets. And then we just going on, and he was saying like, I love your Patriot stuff, but it seems like you're more in the wrestling world and whatnot. I'm like, yeah, it's kind of my real love and passion. And, we're trying to get there. And with the stuff that you've been sending me, the comments we've been getting, thank you all. I mean, it's really awesome to see, and we really appreciate it. And we've just we're taking that next step. We're putting it into another gear, just like the 2 wrestling companies that are popping off right now. And I think we got a lot to say about those, both good and bad, which kicks off this segment of the week.
Don't be a lemon, be a rosebud.
Don't be a lemon, Sara, be a rosebud. It is time for Rosebud and Lemons of the Week. For anyone who is new, welcome. But second, Rosebud and Lemon, it is where Sara and I give our favorite and least favorite thing of the wrestling week. Rosebud being the best, Lemon. I didn't even plan it. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't even plan it like that. I just did laundry, and I love this shirt because it's just got a giant lemon on it. And people are just like, why do you got a fucking giant lemon on your shirt? So
and it's for Queen Becky. Hey.
The Queen Becky Lynch, who's got a book coming out. Pre-order it. Make sure you pre-order that book.
I know.
Just tell everyone to. What's up, David?
What up?
Bernard. I'm playing the new Spider-Man. Oh, see, that's what I hate is my Xbox. I have Xbox.
I know you need to get a PlayStation.
I know.
My sister did the same thing. My sister was like an Xbox girl, and then everybody else was on PlayStation. And I forget when she moved over. I think it was when she got a PlayStation 4 is when she like finally moved over. But yeah, because I think she got an Xbox One or whatever the newer one is. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, she like now she can't even imagine like not being on PlayStation, you know.
I got to I gotta get the it's like an extended hard like a hard drive for the Xbox, because the one I have now is not a lot of space, and I love having a lot of games on my console, and one of them being Avengers. So the closest
I
I
think you just
have
need
to that,
you need a PlayStation.
I do.
That's
Okay, maybe.
instead. Mm-hmm.
David, what's up?
What up?
Nathaniel's here. Excited to see Adam Copeland and Christian, maybe potentially, and he loves your hat.
Thanks. This is my favorite Patriots hat.
It's a nice one. I like the color.
It's simple, you know, but I like it.
Simple and does the job.
Yeah, women. I got a women's one too that just said like, I think it was NE Pats or something like that. I hate the women's sizes. I was like, I will never do this again. The thing is, it's so funny about hats being gendered is so dumb because like our heads are really not shaped that differently that we need like our bodies are. You know, so like men's and women's sizes make sense, but like sized hats, I'm like, I don't know, like is that big of a deal? Because I'm like, the women's hat was small, and I was like, okay, so it's difficult for me to wear my hair up. So if that's an aspect, that ain't working. So I'm like, never again, never again,
never again, never again,
never.
Sarah, I've been talking too much, and I'd rather listen to what you have to say is your favorite thing from wrestling this week.
I would say, because we didn't do a SmackDown breakdown last week, I can talk about it today. The John Cena Roman Reigns segment that then became, hey, here's my boy LA Knight. I loved that they finally had that interaction happen, because it feels like it's not been teased for that long, because obviously it wasn't announced that Roman was going to be coming back until pretty recently. But it is kind of what we were thinking would be like the next step for LA Knight, because we've talked about multiple times that it feels like he's a little bit above the US title. And so it felt like he would have to go for the next title, which of course is the Universal Championship. So I thought that was really cool. I loved Cena being like a silent hype man behind him.
Cool.
And I saw, I think it was Mark Henry, who said that he felt like John Cena took away from the moment.
Oh, I'm so happy you brought this up.
For LA Knight. And I thought that was kind of ridiculous. Like, I understand what he's saying, just because it's like, it's John Cena and this is LA Knight. So we need to kind of like have the focus on him, because he's not an established name the same way that John Cena is, Randy Orton is, where it's like, it doesn't matter what else is going on. You're really focused on that. But I felt like, you know, the beginning of their interaction, Cena and LA Knight, you know, the way that like Cena was talking to him before he handed him the mic, and then when he handed it to him, like everyone went crazy, and and Cena was like, see, it was kind of like a passing of the torch moment to me. And not to mention, I didn't catch this immediately, but I don't know if you saw that LA Knight quoted a line from Basic Thugonomics.
He did.
So it was just like,
he's got our heart.
Yes. So I understood like to an extent what Mark Henry was saying, but I felt like, you know, that would hold more weight if like LA Knight didn't then kind of include him on purpose by using that line. Yeah. You know what I mean?
No, and the one thing about Mark Henry that I have to point out right now is he works for I'm kind of vibrating in my talking. I got a pain right there as I was talking. Weird. We have to remember, who does Mark Henry work for? Just gotta throw that out there.
But I also feel like if you're going to have a show like on Busted Open Radio and you're going to be talking about everything that has to do with wrestling, then you kind of can't show your bias. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like it's like if you're going to be an NFL commentator and you're going to talk about the entire league, you can't show your fandom or favoritism towards one team, because people are going to call you out every single week about it. And I feel like that should apply to wrestling commentary as well.
Yeah, you're right, and it's very old school thinking from Mark Henry. It's very out of touch with the fans, you can tell that, I mean, I don't mean that nobody cared that John Cena came out, but I mean, when LA Knight came out, John Cena was one of the fans.
Yeah.
He was just in the ring.
Mhm.
That's really basically the only difference. He just introduced him because he did a job.
Yeah.
And then once he introduced him, he hopped over the barricade essentially and sat down with the rest of the fans to see what he had to say. And I love that that's where John Cena is in his career right now, where
Mhm.
he comes back because there is a strike. There is a writer's strike. Hello. There is a writer's strike going on, or actors too, tomato potato. But you know, and WWE is his home. John Cena is a fixture of WWE, and at this stage of his career, he needs to put over the next generation of talent that's going to keep the ship moving.
Mhm.
LA Knight is primed and poised to be a big name guy for the next 3, 4, even 5 years. So you got to do this stuff with Cena. It's symbolic. That's what wrestling is. They've done it for years. And it just, to me, that comment just, I looked at it and kind of just shrugged it off. I was like, this is ridiculous.
I think if we were talking like 6 months ago, then I think that the comment would have made more sense because LA Knight was over, but he wasn't mega over the way that he is now. So if it, like I said, if it was like in April, I mean, we were talking about WrestleMania, people were like getting on the bandwagon of LA Knight, and they were disappointed about him not being at Mania. But I think that if this moment happened then I feel like, okay, Mark Henry, I get your point. Like, it's just not the right time. But we're talking, it's October. Like, LA Knight has been hinting at calling out Roman for a couple weeks now. So no one was really caring what Cena was doing. Everyone was focused on what was happening between LA Knight and Roman Reigns. So it was like, it was just the camera angle that they had that you could even see what Cena was doing behind him. Had that not been the angle, nobody at home would know what he was doing. So then we wouldn't have a comment about it,
Exactly.
So I don't agree that he took it away. I think that he was the perfect guy to set this up, especially as someone who, what was it, a year or two ago when he faced Roman for the title at SummerSlam. So it's like, or whatever people, was it SummerSlam? Okay. So I felt, I don't know, it felt fine to me. So I was just excited, and I'm hoping that we get another interaction, because I'm going to post clips of this, but SmackDown is tonight as we're recording, and I've seen conflicting reports about whether or not Roman is set to be there or not. So I hope that he's there, because like I said, there's only 2 weeks, I think, until Crown Jewel, and I feel like he needs to be there. So I'm really intrigued to see what they're going to do between LA Knight and Roman leading up to Crown Jewel. Even though it sucks that we already know that he's going to lose, it's still just like, what a great opportunity, especially at Crown Jewel,
Yeah, I don't care that he's going to lose. That's not, you need to just get him in the title picture, get him in a title match, so that you can elevate him and keep him in the main event picture. That's easy. My rosebud of the week, we're jumping ship here. AEW. No, it is not Christian Cage, even though I could make that my rosebud of the week for like the 4th week in a row. It's the whole MJF Jay White saga. I love that Jay White has the AEW title and is flaunting around like he's the champ, even calling the Triple B belt the Bang Bang belt. I mean, just brilliant. Cardboard Jay White, brilliant. And then the incorporation of the Acclaimed with Max Caster and how he's obsessed with MJF. If you're new to AEW and don't know like why is he just so obsessed with him, this has been going on for like 2 years, and they both wrestled in the indies together, both in Limitless, so they are friends. Like they have a history together, and it's awesome that they're putting that on screen and incorporating it. And the whole storyline right now with the Dynamite Diamond Ring, that battle royal on Wednesday night, how Max Caster was in the match but then ultimately lost to Juice Robinson, part of the Bullet Club Gold with Jay White. He's going to face MJF next week. The only thing I would say that I wish happened was that it was the last two in the ring were Max Caster and Juice Robinson. MJF is on commentary. MJF is getting his ass beat. Okay, his ass beat by Jay White. He sneak attacked him. Tomato potato. What should have happened is Max Caster eliminating himself to go and defend MJF and then have them both get their ass beat. Because then that's like, you knew Juice Robinson was going to win that. Okay, you knew he was going to win it to set up this Bullet Club Gold versus MJF. And I wanted to see that story continue rather than Juice Robinson just knocking Max Caster out with the quarters and then throwing him over the top rope. Like I want to see that. So, but the whole thing was so good, and I love how he has the belt because MJF still has a title in the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championship, and he wears that, keeping that relevant in the picture. And the whole Adam Cole thing, that whole storyline with Adam Cole's injury, they're really keeping it moving forward very nicely, even with the unfortunate circumstances happening around it.
Yeah, and I was saying that I felt like that was a really good idea because we don't know how long he's going to be out because he apparently needs multiple surgeries, and it was such terrible timing where they were like on top of the world, and so it's like film as many like vignettes and whatever that you can and use that to keep him on TV, because it's not like people are going to forget, but like you want to take advantage of the momentum that they have right now. So as long as they're keeping him alive in that way, then I think that they're winning, you know.
Have you seen any of the Adam Cole Roderick Strong vignettes with the Kingdom? Okay, Sarah, this is why this is just next level. Okay, so Matt Taven is carries around a giraffe.
I've seen the thing about a giraffe. Yeah, I've seen something about that.
But do you understand why?
No.
So one, well, the obvious reason that stuck out to me at first was they have the longest neck. The whole gimmick is neck strong. Because Roderick Strong had the neck thing, and he's taking off that, and it was neck strong. So, I thought, and everyone on Twitter, IWC, thought it was just because they have a long neck. But then they played into it in one of the vignettes, where I think Adam Cole asked, like, why are you carrying around a giraffe or whatnot? And he goes off about how giraffes utilize their neck so much and that they are the symbol of neck strong. And it was just next level. And that's the little detail that I love when it comes to any storyline in wrestling. It's just, it's showing that they put in that extra effort for something so stupid that would not make sense to anyone else that had you scratching your head. And they go that next little level where someone could make comment like, why are you holding a giraffe? That's just ridiculous. It's like, actually, it's because of this reason, that reason, the other thing. And it works. Like, it's so well done right now that I can't say anything bad about it. It's incredible.
Well, I mean, giraffes do use their necks as like their fighting mechanism. Yeah. They also, I fed giraffes a couple of years ago. It's weird. They are very cute, but they got some weird tongues, man.
They got some weird fucking tongues, Sarah.
Yeah, they're like blackish purple and whatever.
Yeah,
but
they're
still pretty cool.
Yeah, it is. All right, what is your lemon?
It says
you're not pits.
Yeah. I found this a little hard to think of, but then I just remembered this. And I'm not sure if this is the direction that they're going in, but it looks like that from what we saw on Tuesday. But I'm kind of bummed at the thought of Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes beefing. I was kind of bummed about that. And I mean, it's been setting up for not even a couple weeks. I would say like over a month, because when Melo lost the NXT title, the same night, Trick won the NXT North American Championship, even though he lost it like, days later. It didn't matter because you could see that the tension was brewing right there, because it was like, no, Mello was then coming off like, no, I'm the leader of this group. Like, I'm the one that's supposed to be champion, not you. And now he looks like, the loser because he doesn't have the title and Trick does. And so obviously it would look like he was kind of happy that he lost it to Dom, because he didn't even like come out or anything to like address the situation. And then we got told, excuse me, she just like had her arm like outstretched on my like laptop, and I'm like, what is going on? Like she was trying to move the mouse or something. I don't know. She's going full heel. I don't understand.
Full heel, Remy.
And then on Tuesday we saw Ilya Dragunov talking and saying that from the week before, Cody had made one last change to the show as the guest general manager, and that he was turning the triple threat number one contender match into a fatal 4-way, and he added Trick Williams into the match, which Carmelo did not look pleased when they showed him.
No.
And then before the night is over, we see Trick Williams is jumped in the back and unable to compete.
Oh no.
And so it remains a triple threat, which then Carmelo wins and becomes the number one contender for Ilya's championship. So the seeds are planted for a Trick Mello Gang feud, and I'm just kind of bummed about it. I mean, it felt like it's inevitable. It's just like when we talked about Judgment Day and whatever, the bloodline, like you knew it was coming. It happened with Evolution. It happens with all of these groups. So I knew it was coming, but I'm just kind of bummed about it, because I was kind of hoping that if they were going to come up to the main roster, it was going to be them together as a group.
Yeah.
It's possible it can still happen, but I don't think so. I think Mello is coming up before Trick does, and I don't know about it.
I know it's really sad because there's few duos that are not tag teams. Maybe I might add that duos that are not tag teams.
Yeah.
That make it from NXT up into the main roster.
Mm-hmm.
This has it. They're just the chemistry, the bouncing off of each other. I would say the star power.
Yeah, their appeal to everybody.
It's insane.
Mm-hmm.
It's awesome. And I mean, as soon as Trick gets jumped, you hop on Twitter and you just see everyone throwing it back to 2002 to set up that SummerSlam 2002
They're
match.
like, Mello, no.
Why would you? And I was like, you got to be kidding me. Everyone was losing it. And Shawn Michaels booking, that's another rosebud of the week. That man just keeps on cooking.
I know. And thank God, because as we said, when he first got there, it was
awful.
Not great.
Awful.
And the roster hasn't changed that much in that span of time either. I think that he just, I think we talked about it last week when we were saying he kind of needed to have more of a grace period from people. And I don't think he was privy to that, because it felt like, we were haters, because we were like, what is this? Mm-hmm. But then once he kind of figured it out, got into the groove and what he likes and what he didn't like and what people were responding to, it rivals Raw and SmackDown sometimes, which has gotten better now because Triple H has more control. But even then it was like, there were people who were more interested in watching NXT than Raw, so that'll tell you how well he's doing. Kudos to him.
Kudos to him. It really feels like NXT is getting to that point where they can be their standalone brand.
It could rival the Black and Gold era, which
we're getting there. We're really getting there.
Yeah,
it's getting there for sure. My lemon. Vinny's in the house. What's popping, Vinny?
What up?
My lemon of the week, as I rewatch it now before smacketh down. It's Sting. It's Sting retiring. Stinger has announced that at Revolution 2024,
which is when?
Next year.
I know, but like what month?
October, I think.
Oh, okay. So another year. Another year.
Yeah, I gotta check that out. But I'll say my piece and check it out. Sting will be retiring, stepping away from the ring, and he said that it feels different than his last retirement in 2015 because he can go out on his terms.
Mm-hmm.
It's sad, and
well, isn't he close to 60?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
I'm gonna make that point.
I get it. Yeah, I mean, people didn't really think that they would ever see him outside of like WCW or something. The fact that he's gone everywhere that he has,
incredible.
It's great, and the fact that he was able to come back from a neck injury in 2015 again, like you got more years of him. So
it's really it's sad because it's another legend of the industry that is going to step away, and it's as a wrestling fan, when you grow up watching someone your entire life and then poof, they're not there anymore. It is really sad, and I love Sting because of the way he adapted himself and evolved himself over the years, going from the colorful face paint and coming out to the rockin' music, happy. And then what?
Scott Hall coming up with the crow gimmick.
That's what the crow
That's
gimmick.
Why I was like, yeah, baby, the crow. The whole thing is still going. It's Scott Hall.
The crow gimmick, like when the rafters. I mean, I even mimicked Sting in the rafters when I was suspended from work down at Quinnipiac. I was suspended for like 2 weeks for some bullshit, and I was supposed to work a game. Like, I found out that I was suspended, and it was like, oh, I'm not working the game tomorrow night, whatever. And we were obviously wrestling fans. I showed up to the game. It was a basketball game. I showed up and sat in the absolute top of the raft to bleachers with my black hoodie and like this, and I just watched, and everyone's pointing at me like whatnot. So I mean,
people probably thought you were gonna like eliminate them from life or something.
I didn't look that intimidating. It was just more like, holy shit,
look at that weirdo.
He's just in all black, and they just start dying laughing. And the funny thing is that the people who got the Sting reference, obviously, were like my inner circle, whatever, were laughing in that regard. But the people who didn't get it just thought it was funny that I was just up in the rafters hanging out because like I was always there working. Revolution is March. Thank you, David. That's huge. They just thought I did that because I couldn't stay away because I was at almost every event. So the inspiration, there's a lot of inspiration, and Sting also has one of my favorite moments with my friend group when I predicted he'd make a return at Survivor Series, or a debut, I mean, at Survivor Series. It was actually a fun fact. His debut at Survivor Series is the same night as the Odell Beckham catch.
Interesting.
Watch those two things happen simultaneously.
The highlight of his entire career, and that was like so many years ago.
Still believe that he should have won at WrestleMania, but WWE will always come out on top. So that was that. That's just sad, and I wish him the best. Joker Sting, dude. Joker Sting was so good. Impact, they have that video out on their YouTube if you want to check it out. Vinny, if Ric Flair wrestles again, I legitimately think
I will jump out my window. Die. Yeah, I will jump out my window, but not a good reason. Because I feel like sometimes I'm gonna bust through a wall because I'm so excited. No, if I jump out my window, it's because something bad.
It's because
I didn't need to see that. I didn't need to see it.
Yeah. So those are my. Oh yeah, we got your lemon. Those are Rosebud's lemon of the week. Do we have anyone else that has some lemons and rosebuds? I know, someone who's not here, but all right, cool. Sarah, what the fuck is going on right now in wrestling? It's another week, and more crazy shit has gone on. All right, and more great shit is happening as well. I don't know what that is. So this week we got WWE and AEW news coming at you. I think we should start off though with this happy news. The Viper return is coming. Randy Orton, it is slated that he will be returning. We had Rev Theory tease it a little bit. There's been reports that new merch and other products, whatnot, is in the works of being made. So it's all about pretty much when at this point.
It's supposed to be around Survivor Series, but we know when Survivor Series is, and I feel like if he's coming back, it would have to be like before that, or he's coming back to like help somebody at Survivor Series or something. I don't know, because as of right now, I don't know where he fits into anything, and that's not a bad thing necessarily, but because we know this so early, it's just like, okay, now I'm going to be trying to figure it out. Like, you know, like what if he wants a match with Roman? I don't know. But I also wonder, what is he going to return as? Because the last time we saw him, he was like, "What's up, bro?" Like, "RK, bro." You know, like,
That's
are we going to
true.
see? We're not going to see that version, obviously.
Yeah,
But I feel like I need a heel run. I need a heel run, and I kind of feel like we might be past that with Randy at this point, because he had such a good time with Matt Riddle, and he talked about it so much that it was like some of the best times of his entire career. So I really wouldn't be surprised if he comes back as a babyface, but I don't know. Because also, I feel, but if he goes to Raw, because Raw's his show, do we really need another top babyface on the card? Like, I mean, I guess.
I mean, one just got, well, no, it was a even babyface swap. No, I mean,
I guess they could, but I don't know. I kind of feel like, in a way, I don't know if I'll be disappointed either way. You know, it's just the fact that we're gonna hear that music hit, and it's just gonna be legendary.
I have my wrestling songs that play throughout the day in my earphones, and that one pops up more than once a day. But I do love the RK Bro. It's so good. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but we're past that though. So
I meant the song. I don't care.
Oh, okay.
I meant the song. I'm over RK Bro too, but I'm not over that song. It slaps, that entrance theme. I love listening to that one too. So, but yeah, I cannot wait for this. In the sense that I don't know what Randy Orton's going to come back to. I know a lot of people are clamoring for him to be a part of War Games, and in that match, I think that's just a little bit too much, too fast.
Well, I also think he doesn't fit in what we think the War Games match for the men is going to be, if there is a women's one. Like, he doesn't fit in the Bloodline or Judgment Day stuff. I mean, the only way I could see it working is if he somehow was like, me and Cody, you know, like, because of their history.
No legacy, yeah.
Yeah, but that's really the only connection, you know, like, he has no connection to Jay. He doesn't have a connection to, like, you know, LA Knight or John Cena if they do like a inter-show War Games match. So I don't know. And that's why I'm like, okay, we know that LA Knight is going to lose to Roman at Crown Jewel, so maybe he wants to show up at Survivor Series and challenge Roman. I don't know. Like,
I have no idea.
I don't know. So it is exciting because it's like he could literally show up at any point and we'll have no idea.
And I don't care. I want to see it.
Yeah, it's like, and that's a part of something that I think when we've talked about how the internet and stuff has kind of ruined surprise factor in wrestling. And that's true. And it's even in this instance, because like, we know Randy's supposed to be returning in like the next 5-6 weeks or whatever. But I think that the part that still makes it fun is that we don't know when or how or like who he's going to be. And so like, even if we are sitting here eagerly awaiting for that music to hit, it's still just like, we don't know when or everything, you know, we don't know the details. So I feel like that still makes it exciting.
Yeah. It sucks that we live in that era, because the surprise returns are just undefeated. Really are undefeated.
I think there's only been like 2 times that I can remember in maybe like the last, I don't know, 10-15 years, I think, that I can remember where I was genuinely shocked that someone showed up. And the most recent one was John Cena in London.
Oh yeah.
But the time before that, the only other time before that I can remember is Shane McMahon returning.
Oh, that was
his original return.
Yeah, that was huge.
It was spoiled for me. But that one I was still like, I can't believe this is happening.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I don't think that takes away. It doesn't necessarily take away from every other person's return. You know what I mean? Like, we knew that Cody was coming back and he was going to be Seth's opponent at Mania, but I don't think that it really lessened the excitement of that return. It's still one of my favorite returns, and it's something that I could watch on replay like every day. And I think a lot of people, even though they knew that it was going to be Cody, they weren't like, oh, who cares, you know?
Yeah.
So I think it just depends on the person, and I think in the way they return.
Were you not surprised over the Hardys?
I guess, yeah, but I think that I kind of had already been like checked out of the Hardy fandom a little bit. Like, not that I didn't care, because obviously I grew up like a big Jeff Hardy fan, especially.
Yeah.
But I feel like I just wasn't like that into them at that moment. So it was like, whoa, yeah, that was crazy. Especially with how, you know, their last stint in WWE had ended and whatever, and what had gone on. But that's not one that in my mind stands out for being like, holy shit, like I can't believe that happened, you know?
I broke a chair. I jumped up and down on a chair.
That was me with Judgment Day winning the tag titles.
Oh my God. I could feel your energy through that phone call.
I know.
I really could.
You have to remember I was 3 hours behind too, so.
Yeah, you were lucky in that regard, where it's like 8 o'clock and you're like, all right, Raw's done. Let's go do other stuff for the night. And I'm like, it's 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
Raw's over and I have to go to sleep now.
It's
very sad, bro. It's very sad. All right, what's the next banner up here? The 17 million viewed stare down. Apparently, Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns stare down has reached 17 million views across all social media platforms. And you're probably asking us, Pitts, Sarah, why bring this up? What? Of course it has the millions upon millions of views. And yeah, sure, if you want to look at that pessimistically. But 17 million views for a goddamn stare down, that means that people want to see part 2 of this match happen at Mania.
It served the purpose that it was meant to, you know, like it was something that people had said to me. Like, I think I even talked about it with you, or maybe we talked about it on Raw. I'm not sure, when we did the Raw Rewind, but people were saying, you know, what was the point of Cody and Jay having the tag titles for just 10 days? Like, it just felt stupid, blah, blah, blah. Was it really just for the stare down? And it's like, yep.
Yeah.
And I mean, we had thought that Cody was going to be traded to SmackDown, and that was how it was going to happen, you know, the reunion between him and Roman. But this is exactly why WWE knows what the hell they're doing, because all it took was for them to meet on the entrance ramp and stare at each other for however many seconds, and people are already like invested in a pay-per-view that's not happening for a little less than 6 months from now. So I mean, like, kudos to them for their business decisions, because sometimes they are a massive hit, and this is one of them. And it's crazy because that rivals like when The Rock returned, you know, like just like a month ago or whatever. I mean, that's crazy.
It's insane.
And we're gonna be there if it happens.
That's what I was just about to bring that up, that we're less than 6 months away.
I know.
From us being at WrestleMania.
I'm excited, obviously, no matter what it is, especially because WrestleMania is 2 nights and you kind of forget about that. And I feel like for me, I'm going to be exhausted because I, first of all, have never been to a WrestleMania that's like 3, 4, 5 hours long, right? And then also, it's so much later for me, because usually I'm like chilling by like 8, 9 o'clock. Like, yeah, okay. But this is going to be like, oh, it's midnight and the show is ending, and then we have another one tomorrow, you know?
Yeah,
and I'm going to
be drained.
Yeah. So I am excited, but it is kind of cool to know, or kind of feel like you're getting a glimpses of what some of those matches might be. And this feels like one of them. So it's kind of fun to have that, because, you know, I think David had said this to me not too long ago about how they should go about doing matches like a year in advance, like the way that they did with The Rock and Cena. Like you knew about this Mania match happening like a year before it did. And this kind of feels similar to that because it felt like after Cody lost in the way that he lost, it felt like, yeah, this is going to happen again next year. And now we're getting, these little moments like this. And it's like, okay, this feels solid now. So it's going to build up that like emotion and excitement so much more. And the fact that we're going to be there and I could potentially be there to see him win his first title.
It's going to be a moment.
It's
going to be a really great moment.
Yeah, it is. So I'm excited.
I'm very excited for it. Tell you who's not excited for NXT. Chris fucking Jericho.
I'm not shocked by this at all, honestly. Because it's Chris Jericho. And so are you pulling up the actual quotes?
I am.
Okay. So before we get into that, as you're finding them,
yeah.
I read the two of like the main quotes that people were talking about. And kind of like what you said about Mark Henry earlier, people were like, okay, well, you can't take him too seriously because he works for AEW. So of course he's going to come out and defend that company and put down WWE, blah, blah, blah. But even when things weren't as contentious as they are right now because of the recent head-to-head, Jericho has been shitting on WWE basically since he joined AEW.
Yeah.
And hardcore too. I mean, even like spilling stuff about like Vince McMahon that people didn't really know about and like whatever. So this didn't surprise me. It just felt like the latest chapter in the book of hatred for the company that made Chris Jericho.
Well, yeah.
But I also think what he said was ridiculous. So
yeah. So the quote is, because it's two of them.
Yeah.
He speaking with the messenger. He said, so WWE, don't get too far up your own ass because you didn't do that good of a job as far as crushing us. And our show was better than theirs, quite frankly, so it doesn't bother me. And then he goes into more detail saying, you can only bring in Cena and Undertaker and Cody and everybody else so much because nobody wants to work on their secondary show all the time. And it was a fun little, hey, F you, AEW. I didn't even really worry about it. Jericho also argued that it was just an opportunity to stick it to us with stunt casting and revealed he tried convincing Tony Khan to go tit for tat with some AEW affiliated celebrities. I told Tony, well, if you want to fire back, bring in Shaq and Snoop Dogg and those type of guys. Mike Tyson, but Tony didn't do that. We relied on our show and our guys and girls, and that's the way it's always been for us.
I have so much to say about all of that. First of all, the celebrities that he named, I want to be like, honey, they were WWE affiliated way before they were AEW affiliated. Are we going to forget that Snoop Dogg was at this year's WrestleMania?
They made a title for Snoop Dogg that's gold.
I know.
What do you want?
I'm like, but when you think of Snoop Dogg, you think of AEW? No, the fuck you don't. Like, I'm not saying you think of WWE either, but let's not say I was just saying 6 months ago, we're 6 months removed from him being in the middle of the ring doing, a people's elbow to the Miz. Like,
saving the segment where Shane McMahon tore his quads.
Yeah. So if you got Snoop Dogg, nobody would be changing the channel. And that's the thing. Bring out the celebrities. Who the fuck is changing NXT from seeing Undertaker, Cody Rhodes, John Cena, Asuka to go see Shaq or Snoop Dogg or Mike Tyson on AEW? Who's changing the channel?
Mike Tyson's a part of DX. All right.
I know
really forget that.
That's what I mean. All three of them were affiliated with WWE. So him labeling them as AEW affiliated celebrities, you're grasping. Is that why it's is this a troll? Are your comments a troll? Because it makes no sense. And then of course he's just regurgitating things that Tony Khan said that was well, our show is better. Well, if it was better, then it would have said that in the viewership. So no. And like I said, they just need to take this as an L. Just use it as a measuring stick, as I said in our video when we were breaking all of this down about Tony's meltdown. just recognize where your company is and that they are not in a position to pull off the same stuff that WWE can, that you do not have legends of your company because it's not been around for even 10 years. And like you're saying, he ends it with like, oh, I wasn't really worried about it. You're talking about it like nearly 2 weeks later. So yeah, you are worried about it. Like,
yeah, to me, the whole thing is a moot point. Like all of it's a moot point because from a unbiased standpoint, it was a good show. AEW put on a very good show on that Title Tuesday. All right, for what they have with their roster, and they are doing a very good job with their roster. The problem is you are not established and don't have the longevity and tenure, any other word you want to throw in there, that WWE has, that they can pull these cards of Undertaker, John Cena, Asuka, Cody Rhodes, whatnot, to really elevate your ratings and elevate, talent, which that's why WWE is WWE. And AEW, what makes them AEW is they're different in the feuds wise and the stars that they have, and the more real, I would say more like realistic type of feuds, and like more hard. I don't know really how else to put it.
It's because they're so less scripted that they're able to kind of just talk, which sounds, I guess, maybe a little bit more organic and natural.
Organic is the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
It's more of an organic feel where you
which
don't
again
feel like
is a
you're
double-edged
watching
sword.
cinema. Oh, it's an absolute double-edged sword.
Yeah, because some of them need scripts. Hi, Adam Copeland.
Yeah, that was
just saying.
That was really bad.
Yeah.
It's and I really, from a personal standpoint, I don't really like hearing the comments from Jericho, whatnot, about that. I feel like he should just stay in his lane and
he just
them
doesn't stop, though.
They just don't stop. And one thing that I just don't get is why they're teasing it. Like he's saying it's a war. WWE doesn't think of it like that. They did that because they're trying to prove a point.
And they are the ones that moved to the night that NXT is on.
Take that as a win.
Like,
yeah, never mind.
So I'm saying NXT is on Tuesdays. You guys decided to go to Wednesday or to Tuesdays instead of Tuesday instead of Thursday, and you could have avoided all of this. You know what I mean? Yeah. Or you could have pre-taped or something. Like you could have done something if you wanted to avoid this. Yeah. But it also with Jericho that is confusing to me is like, I believe that he has said in the past that there was like no bad blood between him and WWE, and that when he left it was just like whatever, like there wasn't
it's the next stage of my career.
Yeah, and that's from what I remember, that's what he said. So that's why it's really confusing to me that he continues to do this, and I'm wondering if there's just some sort of like inner hatred for Triple H or something, and that's why he has been doing this, because he speaks about Vince McMahon very highly, even recently. Like I saw
a lot of AEW guys do. A lot of the older veterans of AEW speak very highly. Matt Hardy really speaks highly of Vince on his podcast.
And so that's why, and Jericho has maintained that as well. Like I said, even recently, because I saw a clip of him on a podcast talking about Vince. And so I'm like really confused. I mean, it would make sense if it's some sort of issue with Triple H directly, because that was the basis for a lot of Cody's aggression when he was in AEW. I mean, he targeted Triple H specifically. He didn't even really like, I mean, the throne and the sledgehammer and all of that wasn't at Vince. You know what I mean? And obviously, I do think Cody's aggression was misplaced, because Triple H didn't really, like, he's not the one that made you be Stardust and whatever. But I'm wondering if guys like Jericho, if that is more of what the underlying factor is for why they keep just talking and talking and talking. Mm-hmm. And it's like, people have been talking about putting Jericho in the WWE Hall of Fame, and I'm like, if you keep this up, then why should they? Like, you constantly disrespect the company, like, and it's not just because you're trying to hype up the company you're in. Like, you're taking shots at them in the middle of like, July, and nothing's been happening. So it's very bizarre.
I have this comment. Old Man Mob, who's tuned into the Gillette Gazette. Shout out
Oh,
Old Man
hey,
Mob,
what's
dude.
up?
I've been saying this AEW, WCW, or TNA, Impact, whatever they're calling it. Sooner or later, Tony just proved me right. And that's the one thing I really want to hammer home right now, okay? It's not a bad thing to be the alternative. You need to have an alternative, because when you don't have an alternative, look what happens. The product gets stale. All right. The 2009, that weird era where, I mean, that I was tuned out at this point, but
That
you
was
had
when I started going to SummerSlams, 2010 to 2013.
Oh, that was your heyday. See, that was when I was
Yeah.
out and kind of trying to be the champ of the Patriot peeps, not just the wrestling peeps.
Mm-hmm.
And there wasn't a lot of competition there. Now there's competition. Look what's happening.
Yeah.
Look what happened in the 90s when there was competition. Look at before WCW, when they were the same thing. It was like an alternative, but like it was basically the same thing with characters and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And WWE in the early 90s, you know, it was all characters. It was awful. Then they got some hefty competition and they elevated the product. So competition creates cash. I've always thought this. So if you have a competition, it's healthy, it's okay. And you can keep these comments and think these comments to yourself as a motivational tool. That's great. It should be. Thor even said it in Endgame. Anger, rage, all that. They're great motivating tools. But don't come out and say it out loud and believe it, you know, just for a cheap pop online.
I think the problem is, like, kind of tying in that the comment was like, a lot of them are the older generation. So, and I don't mean like old, but like Jericho obviously is an older generation. Mark Henry, you know, Big Show has said some things as well. Even looking at Tony Khan, you know, he's in his 40s. So like he was a teenager, or, you know, getting close to his 20s when the Monday Night Wars were happening, and we know that he was a big wrestling fan growing up, so he's very well aware of how that competition was between both shows and the networks, and like what came of both companies and whatever. And I feel like he's so badly wanted to recreate that environment where it was like WCW versus Monday Night Raw, well, Nitro versus Raw, and they're 4 or 5 years in at this point, and it's not there yet, and they're like that. I feel like it's almost like they're taking their anger out on that because they set themselves up to be disappointed, because it's like, you shouldn't have come in with that expectation, especially because for many of the years that they have been a company, they were relying so much on former WWE stars being their stars, and they thought that was going to be enough to like put them over the edge and like give them the momentum, because it's like, haha, we took the guys that you didn't believe in and now there are, you know, faces of the company, and they thought that would be enough. And so now when they see that they're not even competition directly competing with the secondary brand, which I'm like, whatever, like you can use that term, Jericho, but I think that took a little bit more of a hit to their ego, because if they had lost to Raw, of course they're going to lose to Raw. Raw and SmackDown do over 1 or 2 million every single week. So like, I don't think that would have hurt them as much. I think it's the fact that it was NXT that has continued to make them talk about it. But like I said, I think it's their own mentality that they're not just willing to be the alternative that has a loyal fan base. And it's like, they're always thinking about the other company, and that's when you set yourself up for failure. And I think that's where they find themselves right now.
You can't go on an 83-week run of being on top without starting from the bottom first, and that's what they're doing. You know, I wouldn't be surprised with it, you know, maybe 4 or 5 years we see AEW do top the charts for a couple weeks, just with how the pendulum swings. Not predicting anything you know, crazy or trying to, you know, reinvent the wheel, but shit shifts. So you have to remember that. This comment is just, I'm sorry, but if Chris Jericho's not an NXT fan, then I'm not a Fozzy fan. I am a huge Fozzy fan. I love Fozzy.
But I mean, LOL at the comment, but also like I don't know that you really need that to be a basis for why you're not a Fozzy fan. Let's be real. I'm not saying Fozzy is that bad, but I'm like, like, you know, I don't have any of their albums or anything.
I know way too many Fozzy songs.
Well, yeah, but that's also because you have like an addictive personality. So
I have a you haven't even met me yet. You know this. That's the thing. That's what we.
I have an addictive personality too, but I think it's just different in that way. So like, if you get on a Fozzy kick, it's like you're obsessed with Fozzy for however long.
Judas, Painless, 3 Days in Jail.
No, and I mean that's fine.
So many good songs.
Yeah, but I think that's funny. Like, if you don't like NXT, then fuck your band. Like,
fuck Fozzy.
Yeah, fuck your Muppet band. Okay.
Like Pat said, it's good to have competition, but when the competition is making the same mistake the old competition is doing, excuse me, it's just going to end the same. WWE being the show and company. Yeah, and that's a thing that kind of is, I would say, I would attribute to the current culture we're in. And you could take it with anything, sports, movies, you know, anything where it's the immediate gratification. You just because it's not happening in the moment, your mind's like, oh, it's over. It's over. Where you have to let it play out. Like AEW, the fact that they're this big right now after 3 years is an accomplishment. Well, it's around that 3 years.
It's been like 4 or 5.
All right, tomato potato.
Yeah. But it started before the pandemic, is what I'm saying.
Yes, but that's still they're still in their infancy. And
well, that's what I'm trying to say is that these people like Tony just accept where you're at. Like, and that's why I said I feel like they had these elevated expectations of what they were going to be, because they really it feels to me like that Tony really thought that they were going to come on the scene, you know, the second that they became like a weekly episodic show, that they were going to come out and immediately be WCW Nitro to Monday Night Raw. And it's just like, like nothing would ever be like that. You would have to sign like 90% of the WWE roster and create your own company for that to happen. And that's not happening. So that's why I'm saying, like, just accept where you are, but realize, okay, you're content with what you're doing. You feel like the company's on an upward track, and you hope that at one point that you can be a company that rivals WWE and maybe can have the longevity that they've had. Like, not accepting that, we're going to just keep seeing this bullshit from people, because it's just like, come on, dude. Like, come on, just support your company. There's a reason why a lot of people who watch WWE and they don't watch AEW will constantly shit on AEW, because they are always talking about the opposition. You never hear people on WWE, really. It's very like few and far between if they mention the other place, you know? But with AEW, it's almost weekly. And it's like, stop. You don't want, like I said, you don't want the competition to see you sweat. And you keep telling them that they're on your brain.
It's really weak-minded.
It is. And it starts from Tony. That's the thing, is Tony obviously has an addictive personality, and he can't stop thinking about WWE, which then, because, you know, a lot of people in the company apparently love him, they're just going to keep feeling the same way, and then they keep saying the same shit. And it's like, all right, guys, like, move on. Just move on.
All right, we'll move on, I guess.
Okay.
Move on to this. Gunther and Io Sky not on the Crown Jewel card because they're going to be working a live event in somewhere where I forget at the moment. But it's not important right now, because what's important is that the Intercontinental title will not be defended for the 3rd straight pay-per-view. And I already know your feelings about this, Sara. All right. I already know where you're going to go down. And I've been saving this comment in my back pocket all episode, because we got someone who kind of agrees with you here, David.
Wait, he is, but you need to acknowledge him as the WWE undisputed universal world heavyweight champion.
Yes.
Because when I think about who my champion is in WWE, it's Gunther. Sorry, Seth Rollins. Sorry, Roman Reigns. It's Gunther.
Well, mine's Rey Mysterio. So what's up?
All right, that's fine. Mine's superior, so that's fine.
Yeah. It's sad to me because let me hide this comment. The Intercontinental title right now is the best title in the company. And Sarah's BF is Giovanni Vinci.
That is right.
He posted another picture today of him in a black suit, and I just saw it and was like, Sarah is losing her mind right now.
Those ones that he posted last week that were like in black and white or so, and it's like only his eyes. No, it wasn't in black and white. They were like, even Cameron Grimes posted a photo from like the same photo shoot, and his eyes were just like so icy blue. I was like, oh my god, we would have beautiful children, Gio. They would have blue eyes automatically. Oh my god.
I'm just happy he's wearing clothes. Okay,
I'm not.
I know. It's just, yeah. It's sad because they keep pushing. They keep pushing Gunther to defend his title on Raw, and I get it because you want to elevate Raw as not just a weekly wrestling show, but have meaning with title matches and whatnot. And they don't really like it. Makes sense because what other title are you gonna have defend on Raw? Maybe you would have the World Heavyweight
or whatever.
Yeah. So it's just sad because Gunther needs to be on a pay-per-view, and I know a lot of people will say, "Well, doesn't it tarnish his reign a little bit that he's not defending it on pay-per-views?" No, it actually is enhancing it. The
he's
problem
not
is
Roman Reigns who takes breaks.
The opposite. So it's just
he's defended it 75 times. People, that's what I would say.
It's so fucking much. That's more than Orange Cassidy.
Yeah, that's more than Roman Reigns in almost 4 years. So
it's fucking wild, man. It's just insane.
Yeah. So
and then Io too.
So Io is scheduled to supposedly defend her title against Charlotte at this house show, which of course can change because that's supposed to be happening on SmackDown. So who knows how that's going to turn out. Hopefully Io wins. But Gunther, I told you I thought this was coming because of them doing him versus Bronson on Raw. I was like, all right, they're not going to do another title match in 2 weeks, like unless it was Gable, but as of right now that doesn't look like that's in the picture, you know.
Yeah, no, keep that off.
So I was really disappointed about this, and I think there's only 2 confirmed matches for Crown Jewel right now, and we know based off of what we saw at Payback and from the rumblings of the dirt sheets that Triple H is wanting to cut down on how much they're booking for pay-per-views because he felt like they were overbooking, and that's why, you know, the shows would be too long or the matches weren't getting proper time. So to that extent I get it, but when it comes to a guy like Gunther, I just don't think that he is the one that you should be cutting, you know, like
of all people.
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, and the thing is, it's not even just like he's a great wrestler and we're like, oh my god, how is he missing another one? It's like he's a champion, like he's one of the faces of your company right now, and the fact that you're cutting his match over others is just kind of ridiculous, especially right now where we only know 2 matches that are actually happening, and those 2 matches are title matches. So it just makes me wonder, you know, Payback had 5 or 6 matches, so one would expect that we're going to see similar numbers for Crown Jewel. So that means 3 or 4 more matches. What are those other 3 or 4 matches right now? Like, and none of it feels bigger than Gunther defending his title. So that's why it also doesn't sit right with me, because I'm sure there's going to be 2 or 3 matches that 2 at least matches that they're going to add. It's going to be like, did that really need to be on Crown Jewel? Because you know what it's going to be? Logan Paul and Rey Mysterio.
That's stuff.
Sure,
that's he's going to be on tonight.
So that is probably going to be a match. But okay, so why can't Gunther do that? I don't know.
I don't get it either.
Yeah.
I do not, unfortunately, get it. And then to wrap up the news, I haven't wanted to talk to you about this because Lacey Evans has just, I mean, yeah, no shit. She's a lunatic, but I have been so fascinated with her run outside of WWE because it just seems like one giant hot mess. And it only got worse this week as she made an appearance on Mandy Rose's podcast exclusively on OnlyFans, because that's where you have a podcast.
Yeah.
That's why you're subscribing $5.99 a month to see tits and podcasts. So
yeah, I mean, I guess if it was like a nude podcast, then maybe, but
I mean,
it's
I'm
not.
tuning into that.
Yeah.
That seems pretty entertaining.
Yeah, but that's not what it is. So.
That's not what it is. Spoiler alert. That's not a prediction. That's a spoiler. But yeah, she goes on some rant, and I'm not gonna lie, Sarah. I'm gonna let you take the reins here and explain to me what was said, because I tried to watch it. I really tried to watch the clip, but it was just a whole lot of gibberish. I mean, I
can't really tell you what was said. It was kind of incoherent to me.
That's exactly it. Like, she was just like, I'm an alpha, and these people in there, and they didn't get that they can work with an alpha and whatnot. And I'm like, what are you saying? What is this relating to? Like, what are we? If this is just like a tease for the podcast, why is it still 2 minutes long? And it's just this long clip of Mandy and her husband, fiance, whatever, just like,
agreeing, like, yeah. I mean, because there wasn't any context given, and then when we saw the other quote, that people put out about how apparently she had almost gotten into like multiple fights backstage during her time, then I'm like, okay, maybe that is the context that we're lacking. And she's like, you don't want to mess with an alpha, because she's saying she's an alpha female, which is like, that's great. But without getting into the red pill alpha debate, it's like, if you are that type of person, then I don't think that you really need to constantly say you are or try to prove to people that you are, because people would just know. You know what I mean? It's like the people who are like, you can trust me, are probably the most untrustworthy people, because if you were trustworthy, then you wouldn't have to tell people all the time that you were trustworthy. And I think that's the same situation here. But yeah, so her allegedly starting some almost fights backstage is not really surprising to me. She didn't seem like she had really any friends in the company. No one was really fighting for her to be, a part of the programming. But yeah, the alpha stuff, I think she was just like hyping herself up. I don't really know. It was just weird. And I mean, everything since she left the company has been weird. So I don't know if she's going through like a near midlife crisis, and I don't mean that. It's just like, it just seems like she's so all over the place that it just feels like something's off. But maybe that's just who she is, because I didn't know like anything about her outside of WWE other than like, oh, she was in the military. But like, other than that, I didn't know anything. So maybe this is just who she is, and now we're seeing it.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's very weird, and I don't get it. Like, I see her post and stuff on Instagram, and it's all these sexy lingerie stuff. I'm like, aren't you a mom? Like, aren't you,
Well, that is an argument for another day.
No, I mean, it's just more. I don't mean it like that. Like, if you're a mom, you can't do that stuff. But like, it's just one extreme to another. Like, you see like family photos in wholesome time, and then it's like, look at me in my sexy lingerie outfit. It's like, can we separate that? Like,
the more problematic thing for me was, I was saying to you that I wasn't sure how like the military would look at that, but maybe because she's not active, like, it's not a problem.
There's definitely a story there.
Yeah, I have no idea. But
we don't know.
I mean, even though she's going kind of cuckoo, she's doing a good job to get people to like look into what she's doing, because we're talking about her. So if that was the purpose, then.
Do you remember her act like a lady gimmick where she had the umbrella and like the glove and everything? This was when we were in college, and I missed the days where I had a house full of wrestling fans. Now I got 2 roommates, so who just don't know. Whatever, I'm going off. But when we were watching one time, my buddy saw her come out, and he was like, that looks like my racist ex-wife. And I just died laughing at that, because like, that's what she was doing, the Southern Belle thing. And then you go from that to this like ass kicker, which I actually loved. I thought Lacey Evans had potential.
Well, yeah, I said that I was saying that she could have been like a good opponent for Rhea.
Oh yeah.
Because we were saying like, at least we would know that it felt like they were semi-equal. But
the problem is that she was Vince's chosen one. So,
but see, and this is the thing that it makes her release seem a little bit more understandable, because if she really was like that problematic backstage to the point of potentially getting into fights with people, and we don't know if that was men and women, like we don't know, then yeah, if you're like a locker room cancer, then get out of here. Like you're not bringing anything to the table. You're not putting asses in seats. Like you're not doing anything. So I might as well just be like, all right, bye.
Agreed. All right. Well, SmackDown's going, as David alluded to in the comments. LA Knight, is ripping Paul Heyman a new one on SmackDown. I can't wait to rewatch that tomorrow before the SmackDown breakdown. As I have it on in the background, but we're talking, so I can't really hear it. But we got the 1, 2, 3 count. So kicking off with number 1, if you were to resurrect one title ever to right now, what would it be? Just a quick answer, because you don't have to go into massive detail about it, but
hardcore title.
I feel like that's
not even because I enjoy hardcore matches, but I loved the aspect of like that you were able to do whatever you wanted in those matches, and like that people were getting into matches backstage because they were like dragging a referee with them.
Yeah.
Like, but it was like the 24/7 title, obviously, but it had a better thing with it. When they were like running through the arena trying to hide from each other, they were getting hit in the head with a steel chair and then getting pinned. Like that was more entertaining.
It was awesome. I would kind of agree, because light heavyweight cruiserweight would be my next one.
Yes.
I love the cruiserweight title. Those matches were so fun.
And I think they could bring that back. I have more belief in Triple H to get that over than I do with Vince. And that's been a title that I've said that I wanted back. Because we're going to see an influx of smaller guys in the company because of Triple H. So I would love that too, actually.
Oh my God, Montez Ford in a do-rag. Yes, please. That he looks so badass in that. Do we have some comments there? $1 million title would be sick.
Oh my God, LA Knight had it. Remember, he had it in NXT. So
yeah,
but I mean, I guess it also depends on the stance they are with Ted DiBiase, because his son's a little problematic at the moment. So
yeah, I agree. Thank you. I agree. I got pizza here. Pizza delivery.
What kind?
Honey mustard.
Oh, so it's not. I don't even remember what it tastes like, but I always am like jealous that you could get Papagino's. Like I don't even know if it's good pizza anymore, but it's like so nostalgic to me.
Oh, it is very nostalgic. I used to have Papagino's every Monday at school.
I want some Papagino's just so I can be like, oh, is this as good as I remember it?
It's okay.
Well, because there was one right down the street from my grandparents' house.
There it is. Yeah.
So like we would go, or there was one down by the waterfront when I lived in Plymouth. So like we would go there. We also went to another restaurant. My grandfather would take us, but I don't remember where it is, and I almost want to go there. Whenever I go back.
Tavern?
No, it's on the waterfront, but I don't remember what it is.
Oh, okay.
We also used to go to Hearth and Kettle all the time.
Yeah, you definitely did.
I loved that. Their chicken fingers, their mustard, honey mustard, delish.
It's different. It was different.
Yeah.
2, USA Network social media team remains undefeated with their comments. I mean, it's just insane. After Shinsuke hitting the GTS, saying he's the best in the world, their comment recently, why we're bringing this up, about the poster for Crown Jewel. They said, look into his eyes, what do you see? I mean, this just either they're really pulling on the heartstrings of wrestling fans, or they know something that nobody else
USA
knows.
does not know shit. But yeah, I mean, I understand, there's a lot of people out there that want CM Punk to return. I personally don't. I mean, I have admitted a few times that I will mark the hell out if I hear Cult of Personality, because goddamn, that's a good song.
It's a great song.
And legendary entrance theme. Like, even if I don't like the guy that has it, legendary. Like, I think there's one Raw, I forget, it's from like 10 years ago or more, where I think I'm in the front row it's like two instances. One where you can see me rapping John Cena's theme like on camera, so
That's
embarrassing,
incredible.
right? And I'm also like this. Like someone texted me and they were like,
hand
I just saw
motions.
you. Oh my god,
Just
so
doing
embarrassing.
that. Yeah.
And then I was at another show. I don't remember if it was at SummerSlam or Raw. I don't remember. But then there was another one where you could see me singing Cult of Personality. So it's like, yeah, man, like I would be excited about that. But I think that some people just need to chill out, you know, because it's like the dirt sheets are coming out there and they're saying no one is saying that they're in talks. They're saying WWE hasn't expressed any interest, that it's the ball is in their court. It's not happening right now. And people are like, well, why would they tell you if they were? Wouldn't they want it to be a surprise? Like, why should I believe you? And I'm like, you guys are really like doing a mind pretzel just in order to convince yourself that there's like more than a sliver of hope that this is going to happen. And I'm like, if that's what you want to do, that's fine. But as I said, when I was talking about Tony Khan, that's the type of shit that gets you miserable, because you either are going to be waiting for something that's never going to happen. And so you're like, you know, hanging on a thread like every single day, like waiting for the Punk return, like, you know, or you're just gonna, you know, be feeling like this. And then once it happens, you're just gonna like have this mental explosion that's going to be embarrassing on Twitter. So people just need to chill out. I think they're just kind of trolling because they know what people are saying.
I love how anytime a wrestling show is in Chicago, there's like, oh, CM Punk's gonna be there.
That's
one of my favorite all-time running jokes. It's that, oh, wrestling show in Chicago, CM Punk's gonna be there.
Yeah, I mean, to a certain extent, it's true. Just because, you know, like when Tony Khan fired him, it was like, oh, that was a big deal because the shows were in Chicago that weekend.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, WWE has been to Chicago so many times since he left. So I mean, I also find it hard to believe that we might get a CM Punk return and a Randy Orton return in the same night or around the same time. I feel like that would be too much and kind of takes away from the other, you know?
Yeah, agreed. And then to wrap it off, 3, Tony Khan announced that Collision, there's going to be an Ultimate Dream match occurring. So to end the show on a fun note, Sarah, give me a real one that you would, you know, ultimately see, and then a joke one, because I already got my joke one locked in.
I guess one dream one. This is just the first one that came to my mind, because I haven't really thought about this that much. Razor Ramon or Scott Hall versus Damian Priest. And the reason for that, is because they're similarly sized, and also it's like the hero and the fan getting in the ring together. Like, and I always just think that's really cool. So I feel like that would have been a really cool match to see.
I would love to see. So my real one, I want to see Kenny Omega versus John Cena.
Okay.
And in the sheer fact that you could probably go the easy route and be like, oh, you just want star power. That match would really solidify to all the haters of John Cena that he is, 5-move John or whatever it is. That would be a classic. And, if John Cena already can hang in the ring with AJ Styles.
I was going to say he proved that to all those weirdos then. And that was like 5 years ago.
But they still say it. And they still
6 years ago. Yeah.
So I would love to see that. And then my joke one, I would love to see Crash Holly versus Danhausen. That's hilarious. That would be really funny.
Maybe Jillian Hall versus Chelsea Green.
No, Sarah, I kind of want to see that. That would be so entertaining.
They would be fighting for the spotlight.
That would start in that would be one of those matches that starts out with a lot of just talking back and forth. You get 5 minutes of action, another 10 minutes of you want me, camera, and then you get more wrestling. Oh, that would be so entertaining. Oh, that's incredible. That is incredible. Do we have any Adam Copeland versus MJF?
That can happen.
That could pretty much happen. We'll have to see and find out. Thank you guys for tuning into this edition of Pits and Sarah's Wrestling Show, where we take no nights off. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Watch all those clips that we have in the archives. We're 255 watch hours away from monetizing. So please help us get there, reach our goals so we can take this to the moon and do more crazy and fun shit. And then follow us on all social media platforms. Those links and accounts are in the description below. Wrapping things up quickly because Montez Ford and Santos Escobar are on my screen. They're probably on your screen as well if you're watching this dual screen. Not you, you West Coaster.
Yeah, I was gonna say not me.
Not you. I'm talking to the peeps right now.
I have another hour and a half. That is what's weird. SmackDown is on at 7 here, so like,
really,
it's very weird. Yeah, and then I think we change the clock soon. You guys do, not me.
Oh.
But then I think SmackDown might be on at 6. It's either on at 6 or then it back on at 8. It's very weird.
That is weird.
I know.
That is weird.
Yeah.
So go everyone, check out SmackDown. LA Knight and Heyman already kicked it off, and Montez Ford and Santos Escobar are doing the thing right now. So go watch that. And then check out our thoughts tomorrow. We'll be back 7 o'clock right here in the Art of Streams on Sarah Marshall's YouTube channel. Thank you all for tuning in. God bless. Remember that you can do it. All you got to do is try. We will see you tomorrow. Yeah.